Hello and welcome to the Voice Extra cast. Today I have with me writer, student, and assistant editor of Voice.
Hi, I'm Sienna.
Hi, so how are you doing today, Sienna?
I'm doing really well, thank you, despite the fact I can't even go out for my one exercise a day because it's raining. I mean, technically I could, but, it's rain.
Yeah, the weather has decided that we all have to stay inside, which is maybe a good thing, I don't know.
And I've also realised that I passed the British test by introducing myself with the topic of weather.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is, I think, every podcast we've mentioned weather.
Wow,
Which is
we
like,
really passed the test,
yeah.
didn't we?
Yeah, because also what's going to happen is that when this is released will not be when it's recorded. So all of you people are going to be like, wait,
like,
it's sunny,
yeah.
it's nice outside, what
Yeah,
are
in
you
the
talking
middle of
about?
June.
It's going to be great. Anyway, so Sienna, if you weren't inside today, what would you be doing?
Well, I'll probably be binging Netflix later, but I'm actually venturing out to Tesco as well at some point, which is probably my excitement for the week because I have to relearn how to drive, having not driven in weeks. So that should be interesting.
Oh yeah, that's a task.
Yeah, I mean, I got back from New Zealand.
Oh yeah, you got back from New Zealand. How was New Zealand?
It was amazing. I got back, started driving, and everything's on the wrong side. So my ordinary trip to town is a bit more dangerous than normal. Um, but it seems a very long time ago now.
So Sienna, what have you been watching or reading or anything like that to get through this time?
Okay, so I went down a major John Green and Hank Green wormhole. So their podcast is called Dear Hank and John, and it's been like a lifeline because it's basically them just spilling out all of their wisdom in a hilarious way. And I don't know how people feel about John Green because sometimes he can be too much of a cheesy teenage icon. But personally, I haven't even read all of his books, but I think he should be the next president just because of his overwhelming.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know it's a big statement, but I just think he has he could run the world and it would be a safer place. I've no doubt at this point.
Uh, this was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, well, I think it's a bit too late for 2020, but he could definitely run however many years later.
2024.
Yeah, thanks for that, because I definitely did US politics A level. I should know. But yeah, I mean, also, yeah, I mean, obviously he's an amazing writer, but even if he couldn't write a sentence, his compassion for the world and feelings for everyone and the way he expresses them is next level. And it only took me 3 episodes of the podcast to realize that. So
Yeah, I get the same vibe with Rick Riordan. He wrote the Percy Jackson books.
oh yeah,
He just seems like the nicest person.
yeah.
You're just can you just be an extra uncle, please? Thank you.
Yes.
Just please adopt me.
Or also,
because he just seems like such a genuinely nice person.
also can you say something that makes me think that you're not perfect because you have ideas that they could be a perfect person.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. You need a little bit of
Reality, yeah,
imperfection
it's
to keep them human.
yeah, do you have a flaw? Because they joke about having flaws, but that's just them being humble. It's well, you probably don't though, do you? You just want to make yourself seem human.
But yeah, so which of these books have you been reading?
So I've been reading An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, which is actually by Hank Green, not John Green. I definitely don't get them confused. And then by John Green, Turtles All the Way Down, which is about mental health and OCD and things like that. Because he struggles with OCD, so he has that personal experience. And it's set in a high school, and it's such a cheesy YA fiction book, and yet it's also has very deep moral lessons. So yeah, it's an addictive book as well. It's the page turner you need when you have hours on end.
I mean, sometimes cheesy can be good, I think.
Totally. Yes, I agree.
So, have you been watching anything on Netflix or anything like that?
Oh my goodness, I so have. So have you heard of Designated Survivor?
Yes, vaguely.
Yeah, I think you've probably heard the name. Okay, so it's about the US presidency. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, But there's this thing in the Constitution, like a real life thing, that means someone in the cabinet has to stay behind in the I think it's the White House, or stay behind from the State of the Union address. So everyone in Congress, everyone in the presidency goes, oh, and the judiciary goes to the State of the Union, but one person from the cabinet has to stay behind just in case like anything happens. And guess what? Something happens,
Yeah.
and the designated survivor becomes president. Um, and just from there, it's like I can't even describe the level of hype because it's like a classic American drama and it's very patriotic and there's lots of like SWAT teams and like army scenes, which I just live for at like 9 o'clock at night. So yeah, that's what I've been enjoying. And it is such a binger. Like if you want a series to binge, make go ahead.
Oh, it's got Kiefer Sutherland. That's why I know it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like yeah, he plays this. Obviously, he plays the president, but he's also used to be an architect, like the character that he plays, and so he's like an academic.
Yeah.
And when he sits on the sofa, he sits cross-legged, and there's something so endearing about his like body positions and the way he just like addresses people because he addresses them as an academic who has a lot of like love for you, not as the president who might order you to do something. So, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe John Green should talk to him about being the president.
They should just
Yeah,
collaborate to take the
yeah, I
presidency.
think, arts and culture really need that right now.
What I'm hearing is that you should maybe write this fanfic.
Oh, yes. I think that would be a good use of my time in quarantine. Or maybe I should just write the next presidency from 2020 to 2024 and just see what happens with Kiefer Sutherland and John Green.
Definitely, it sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I think so now.
So, have you been making anything like as a result of this time?
Um, I've been making more consumables than normal. I've definitely been like I've felt the flour shortage in a very personal level. Because if I don't get to make my cake, then that's a few more hours without like a sugar hit and it's not good news in this household. Um so yeah, I guess I've been cooking and baking a lot. Um but honestly, in terms of making quote art, I haven't been making as much as I see everyone else has. Um, and I'm trying not to feel too guilty about it. Yeah, I think in a sense, like we all have a pressure to make the most of the time that we are at home because so many of us have busy lives and the hours of the day that we can do whatever we like are very limited. And I mean, I think there's a distinction for people who do have children and people who don't. And people who don't have children have like plenty of hours in the day. Um, and sure, Netflix is a thing and housework is a thing, but if you're not making it could not just art, but like if you're not creating things during those hours, like it's okay. You don't have to be proactive the whole time. And I think like especially now if we're not like outside or like enjoying the weather and if we're not doing basic human things then we should be creating things, but that's just not how it works. And I don't know. I think like mood swings in quarantine are totally a thing. And if you feel like hiding for a few hours and not being the motivated person that people expect, then that's totally fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like came into this with a big checklist of things that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run through, and
Mm,
then I'm gonna watch a film every day, and then at a certain point I realized I needed to actually stop, or not only stop, like slow down a little bit
yeah,
in terms of workload and just kind of take things as they come.
definitely. I mean, like we don't know what day it is at the moment. I've literally is it Monday? Oh no, it's Tuesday, isn't it? So there's just all I know is like whether it's a Wednesday or a Saturday. Those are the only days that like get marked in my head. So we just kind of in a constant flow of hours. They're not really marked by 24 hours anymore, especially because people nap at any time of day. I mean, it's basically like the summer holidays
Oh
all
yeah.
over again. It's just a long summer holidays. with less things to do.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's a fair point. We can't go like go adventuring outside
Well, yes,
much.
because going adventuring is something I used to do a lot in the summer holidays.
I don't know.
Because,
You went
well, I
globetrotting,
guess
so
that's true. I just don't live in an Enid Blyton novel, but there's always room to explore.
yeah, I guess adventuring was a bit of a weird way to put that.
I appreciate it. I like the fact that someone might think that's something I do.
Do you feel like there's a pressure to make work in this time? And where do you think that comes from?
I think it comes from the fact that like say we were all like had a normal life right now, and as a person who works, that person might have like 2 hours a day to themselves. Like we'd still be pressuring that person to make the most of those 2 hours in whatever form, whether that is making art or getting completely fit and toned, or whatever that might be. And in the same way, we've applied that to now. So rather than 2 3 hours a day, we have 10. So I
Yeah,
guess it's the same. I mean, it is the perfect time to start a project. And I'm not saying don't start that project, because you should, and it's a wonderful opportunity. But also don't don't feel pressured to be completely happy all the time and completely motivated, because it's not realistic.
yeah, definitely. I think like these are the maybe the most exceptional circumstances a lot of people have experienced in our entire lifetime.
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
completely understandable to just be like, this isn't happening today.
Yeah,
I'm just not gonna try and force something to happen. Because
yeah,
also a lot of the time, from I've got from experience over these last 2 weeks, when you try and force something creative, it just will not happen. Like you'll just sit there. Like
yeah.
I've had this multiple times where I've been like, I'm gonna write a poem right now, and then I'll sit there for like half an hour staring into space because it's just not happening, and then I have to stop because it's just otherwise you're just like hurting yourself to make something which isn't going to happen.
Totally. And don't you feel like you get into a bad mood as well? Like, I know if I sit down and be like, oh, I'm going to make something now, but I don't actually have that inspiration, I just get into a bad mood with myself. It's not helpful to anyone.
Yeah, definitely. Because then I'm like, am I a proper artist?
Yeah.
Is my ability to make art just gone away? Have I lost my touch? Am I?
And you don't
And you're
have
like,
anything to
it's
distract
like, just
yourself. Yeah.
relax, please, Tayo.
You don't have anything to distract yourself from those like existential questions. So you could just be sitting in your bedroom questioning the meaning of life all day long, which actually isn't a bad thing to do. And maybe we should do, honestly, maybe we should do that more often. Maybe we shouldn't distract ourselves from that.
I don't know. I guess it's important to have time to think and like reconsider.
And that's what I'm doing right now.
But then I guess by the same stroke, you don't want to be overthinking because it's just otherwise you just end up inert, and then it's like, what's the point of the thinking in the first place? As we've already kind of established, Sienna, you're a student, so how's this kind of been affecting you in that way?
Okay, I should clarify. I'm on a gap year at the moment, so I'm not actually like in an institution learning. But I think for any student, it's just a weird time because we're used to attending classes, whether that's like at school or at uni, and like online is great for learning, and I love online learning, but it can be very isolating, and I think we shouldn't forget that, because Zoom calls are great, but ultimately it's you with your laptop at home. So I don't know. I think there's different ways we can look at learning during this time. I mean, a lot of people will be exploring home education for younger children. I was home educated, and I just want to point out that home education does not equal lockdown education, because if you're in lockdown, you literally can't do anything but sit with a computer or a book. Home education is a bit different to that. But I understand that if you're doing home education during this time, then like it's definitely challenging to go from um, being in a social situation all the time to just learning by yourself. And I think it can be isolating, but just I don't know. I think there are so many like groups online that people can join to discuss ideas. Like there's so many free courses, and alongside those courses, you get a lot of discussion forums, and just go down a wormhole, explore something completely new. Get like I know, start a new piece of research and then just let it take you random and weird places, and maybe some places it shouldn't have taken you, but learn some weird facts for a day. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't have to turn into anything like massively directly productive in the
Exactly.
sense of, oh, this will get me a next job, or this will help me in uni. It can just be like, what interests you?
Yeah, totally. And just like, even if it's a very broad interest that you have, like start researching and narrow it down and look on a website that looks cool, and then it'll take you loads of different places. Haven't you
Exactly.
been doing research at the moment, Teo?
Yeah, that's for an article. It's a lot. It's probably. I wonder if you'll see the article for this podcast. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's for a longish feature. It's about COVID-19 and how that affects attitudes to immigration.
Oh,
Which is
mate, that sounds so cool. I love it.
yeah, and I was like framing it through history, so I ended up doing a bunch of research and then vaguely tweeting about it because the research was sending me unpleasant places.
Okay, well, don't do that kind of research. But yeah, I definitely only heard about this through Twitter, and so follow Teo for interesting glimpses into his life.
Yeah, you'll find me just like vaguely tweeting about something which annoyed me in one of the 30 tabs I had open that day.
And we all get to hear about it. We love Twitter.
So, I have one last question for you, Sienna.
Okay.
So, you're gonna have to run with me on this one. It's a bit of an extended one.
Okay.
You've got the podium at the daily briefing. You know the ones they do at like 5 o'clock, I think, every day.
Yes, yeah.
So, the eyes of the nation are on you. Journalists are all there, the cameras are
Oh
all
my
there,
God.
everything's there. What would you want to say to them?
I think I'd focus on whoever's making the flour bags, because you know the flour shortage. It's not. Well, I wasn't expecting you to find it that funny. No, but like this is a serious thing. The flour shortage isn't from the like actual grains of flour or like the powdery white flour. It's from the bags that contain the flour. So there isn't enough bags in the world
Wait, what?
to like
You're
for
gonna have to go
people
into
to buy
this.
flour in bags. Like yeah, so it's not a yeah, it's not a flour issue, it's a bag issue. So somewhere along the production line, someone hasn't been, I don't know, folding their bags properly, and now look what mess we're in. I can't make my cakes. Lots of people can't make their cakes. People are going without cake.
Honestly, though,
I think
that is,
honestly, that's the
yeah.
first thing that came to mind. Because sometimes you just need to call people out about this kind of thing. And if I was in the cabinet, I'd have that kind of power. And now maybe I should go into politics.
You would.
Maybe
So thinking we're going into
if
politics to
the
solve
flour shortage
flower-based
continues.
crises.
Yeah, it's a good interview topic, isn't it? Is there a is there a cabinet position for food? Is it like secretary of, I don't know, food
I
and
can't remember.
housing or
It's
something? I'm gonna look it
it's
up.
either a subset of public health or it's its own thing.
Secretary for Food and Health. Oh no, that's in the
There
Hong
we
Kong
go.
government. Okay, that's not the UK. Environment, food, and rural affairs. Well, that's good because I live in Suffolk, so I would have a lot of experience about rural affairs. And I'm veggie, so I know things about the environment.
Honestly, this is the perfect role for you.
It really is. Goodness me. Change of course. Studying politics.
Well, there we go. I'm glad
Yeah.
that, as we come to the end, we've found a new career path for you.
Yeah. This has been a really enlightening 27 minutes. Oh, also, don't forget that we found the next president.
There we go. We've solved so
Yeah.
many issues in the world, honestly. They should be
We
paying
should
us
maybe
for
do a
this.
second episode and we could like solve coronavirus.
Yeah, well, there we go. We just we just keep going until we solve it.
Yeah, I don't care how long it takes. I just want my flour.
So, Sienna, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at Sienna_James with a Z.
Thank you for joining us, Sienna, and thank you for listening. You can find Voice at VoiceMac UK on Instagram and Twitter. at voicemag.uk in terms of the website to find all the articles and all the other stuff people are writing. And you can go to voice.extra on Instagram to find what all the contributors are writing about and what they're doing, say if they're baking or watching films or whatever else. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining me, Sienna. And bye-bye.
Bye!
Thanks to Kevin MacLeod for letting us use Shaving Mirror. You can find his stuff on incompetech.com.